Good day, Tamers. More Digimon fun time here with the Neo Milldramon deck. This is kind of the second version of this deck. I don't think I ever did a real video for the actual second version when it came out for EX4 and then some of the EX8 stuff, and then I kind of mixed it together with Ipmon and Beelzemon to make it a very sort of aggro variant of the Mildra deck. You use a lot of the option cards, you get through to it. But now that we actually have proper support for Milldramon, and I'm surprised everyone else is that we got so much of it in the last few months, with EX4, EX8, and with BT21 incoming shortly. I'm super thrilled for this. I will be playing this competitively if I can, and I will definitely be showing up to locals and trying to take names while not decking myself out. But we're going to start off here with a card that we can't really show, so I'll show you like a weird image in this one, and then I'll put the text on the side, and that is Gigimon Promo 177 from card set 5. In training, a lesser Digimon inherited on deletion, you may return one Digimon card with the Growl or Gallantmon in its name from your trash to your hand. This will include Chaos Gallantmon named creatures such as Milldramon. I really like this card as recursion effect. It's more awkward for you to get your Megidras out of the trash than it is to get any of the other pieces out normally. So with having access to get your lastly exploded Megidra back out of the trash, back into your hand, or let's say for instance it was something that had, let's say if you've been milling, you milled all your level 6s into the trash, at least if you do explode one way or the other, you do get access to your level 6s again, and that can be an issue with this deck. You can very easily just mill all the wrong pieces at the wrong time, and you are just like, woe is me. I guess this is consequences of my own actions. But what we'll look at now is the other new cards for the deck. So BT21's Guilmon here, we're going to play for this at 4, and this is on play by trashing one card with the Guilmon, Groundmon, Gallant, or Megidramon in its name, or the hero trait from hand, draw 2. This is pretty good. Again, you always just want to be having more access to trash in this deck, and to be fair, a lot of the Groundmon decks and Guilmon decks and Gallantmon decks like having trash for their other options, but for now, you're just filling this up for your own wild ambitions. We'll play 2 of the EX2 Guilmon. This has been our search for a very long time, although it's now kind of been pushed around via the new X antibody because it does exactly the same thing. So it's top 3. But reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with the Groundmon or Gallantmon in its name, and 1 Takato amongst them to the hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of the deck in any order. Now, for those of you who know my discourse, I feel about a few things, but we all love EX4 Guilmon with Rush. Well, gets Rush on play if you have a total number of cards in both players' trashes is 20 or more. This Digimon gains Rush for the turn. So again, you are going to be turbo milling out your deck. You're going to be turbo milling out your opponent's deck. There's a good chance that you'll be at 12 and they'll be at 8. Well, there you go. Guilmon gets to have Rush and has a fun time with it. Going over to Guilmon X Antibody from EX8. On play when Digivolving, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with the Growl or Gallantmon in its name, and 1 X Antibody amongst them to the hand. Return the rest of them up the deck. We will not be running X Antibody in this deck, there's no real need for it. We do run the X Antibody parts, but that is because we're doing for searching and we're doing for trashing cards to make things a bit easier for your trash, for lack of a better phrasing. This does have the lovely effect here of your turn once per turn when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, you gain 1 memory. This unfortunately does not trigger at the same time as when you explode yourself, because you both have the actions of actually dying at the same time, and you have to survive the deletion to be able to gain the effects as far as I'm aware. So, despite the fact there's so many on deletion gain memories, which is great for the Guilmon, but obviously for this one you want your opponent to be able to explode, but you don't want to explode, it just becomes a bit more awkward. But that is our Guilmon lineup. We got 2 Rushy Boys, we got 2 Searchers, we got 4 X Antibody Searchers, and we have 4 of the Throw Me Down, Beat Me Around, and I will happily give you 2 cards if you throw one away. Groundmon from BT21. On play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4000 DP or less. If this effect didn't delete, trash the top 2 cards of your deck. This is essentially a better version of the EX3 Groundmon. You can come at me for this one, it's just how I feel this is. The only reason I think this is a better version is you aren't having to play around at different option names, if that makes sense. You can also play this in conjunction with it. That one has the inherited effect of you have to pop something else on your side of the field and you gain security attack +1, which isn't an awful thing. You know, it's worse alliance, for lack of a better phrasing. But at the same time, this one is on deletion gain memory, and because this deck is just like, oh, I made a big stack, oh, I swung twice, oh, I now exploded, oh, now you've exploded, oh, let's gain some memory, oh, it's still my turn. And that's how this deck kind of wants to revolve around more than the fact that you're just like punching as hard as you can. That being said, though, we are playing 2 of the black Growlmons from EX4. When Digivolving, trash the top 2 cards of both players' decks. Then you may return 1 Guilmon or 1 card with the Growlmon or Gallatmon in its name from your trash to the hand. This is good if you know your stack is going well or you've milled the wrong thing and you need to get something back. Say, for instance, you did the other Growlmon first stack, this is the second stack, you couldn't get access to your level 6s. On the second stack, you can now return the Megidra to hand, or you've been stuck with level 5, so you can now return level 5 to hands. But you also have the on-deletion effect. You may return 1 Guilmon or 1 card with Growl or Gallatmon in its name from the trash to your hand. Again, it's just a recursion piece. It's actually a pretty good recursion piece, but it's not always going to be the best piece. This is why we're going to use it as 2 of, rather than as a 4 of. If it was any other version of this deck, I probably would use it as a 4 of, but because we also want to play the Growlmon X Antibody that can only digivolve over Growlmons and not black Growlmons, we are having to excuse ourselves there. But using 3 of these Growlmon X Antibodies. When Digivolving, draw 1 and trash 1 card in your hand. Then, if Growlmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's distribution card until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon gains on deletion. We play 1 card with the Guilmon in its name from the trash for paying the cost. This is really good if you have the way to go up into your Megidra, do all your damage, do all the on deletion effects, gain all that memory, go sideways, fall over, play like 6 different bodies, and I think there is a way in this deck where you can actually play like 3 bodies on the same turn from like 1 deletion effect, and it's just disgusting. We also have the inherit effect here that your turn once per turn, when any of your opponent's Digimon are deleted, gain 1 memory. Again, this is kind of like mixing in with this is the EX4 stuff, sorry, EX8 stuff, so it wants to delete stuff still, which is very much the Gallatmon side of things, but it's still also asking for the Megidra side of things, so it does work somewhat synergistically. You're going to play 4 of the War Growlmons on play when Digivolving, trash top 2 cards of your deck. Then this Digimon gains Raid and Retaliation until the end of your opponent's turn. This is really good for 2 cases. 1, you just want to smash into your opponent and explode. Or 2, you need to basically take down an opponent's Digimon that's bigger than you and they can't stop you from doing it with Retaliation. So it does come up occasionally. When attacking one's turn, this Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the Megidra or Chaos Gallatmon in its name in the hand. For every 10 total cards in both players' trashes, reduce the effect's distribution cost by 1. Amazing card. This obviously isn't a Gallatmon card, and there's specifically reasons why it's named Megidra and Chaos, rather than, you know, just Gallatmon in name. So this is specifically for this deck only, unfortunately. The Gallatmon does have cards already for that, so you don't have to worry too much. But it's nice to see that Megidramon got actual support that makes sense for Megidramon on its own. I am hoping we get a new Chaos. I am hoping it's not going to be a secret for this set, and it'll be something in BX10, I think is the villain set. So hopefully we get it in there as a, ooh, look at me. EX4's Chaos Gallatmon isn't awful for this deck because it does trigger the on-deletions. It does let you play things out. You will trigger all your on-deletion effects where you get to play things out for free. So you can have 3 bodies on the field, and if it's still your turn, you can just like snowball from there. And then also this War Growlmon has on deletion trash your opponent's top security card. Again, if you're already swinging for like 2 with this, so yeah, 2 checks or 3 checks. Then you explode yourself at the end of the turn, at the end of attack, so you do another security check. Then you have a Guilmon on the field with Rush, and it's just chaos. Beautiful, unadulterated chaos. We do have a War Growlmon X Antibody here though, which is when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, this Digimon can't be returned to the hand or deck, and gets 3000 DP. Then, if War Growlmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's distribution cards, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. This is basically the only point in the line where you are getting the delete your opponent's stuff, gain some memories. And this is basically where you are kind of having some interesting interactions. The EX2 Guilmon, which you mentioned earlier, does, if swinging, if you've got Gallatmon or Growling name, kills a 3000 DP or less, which again is also another way of gaining DP. Getting the memory back from some of those DP effects as well, which is kind of an interesting tidbit, but not necessarily like the mainstay. The reason you're playing that is it's a search card. Also, it does have the inherited effect of security attack +1, which means if you do have like that full big stack, you are just swinging through people like there's nothing in your way. And Milldramon kind of does say that, to be fair. He's just a giant walking nuke at this point. He is the digital hazard, and he is going to prove to you that he is the digital hazard, and he's going to take you out. Milldramon BT21. Security attack +1. End of attack. Once per turn. Delete all Digimon, including yourself. You are not effect immune. You are not damage immune. You can still be deleted, so you will be taking yourself out with this. On deletion, you may play a 1 free cost or lower Digimon card with Guilmon or Growl in its name from your trash, without paying the cost. For every 10 total cards in both players' trashes, add 2 to this effect's maximum play cost. So the simplest thing here is you can obviously play out the rushing Guilmon if you have enough trash there. At the same time, if you do already have 20 trash between you and your opponent, that is now a 7 cost. The new War Growl is 7 cost. It doesn't have Rush, which is obviously a different aspect to this deck. There is versions of this deck where you do run the BT13 Gallopmon, which I think is a fair thing to do because it's a very good deck, very good card, especially in this deck where you are just making trash for the fun of it. I would generally run the Guilmon unless you need to have the on-play aggression that this deck can have. But being the fact that you have a card that says on deletion, play a body out, this one says when we explode, play a body out for a certain costage. Having access to more bodies as you go down the line, as you're exploding yourself, while also doing so many checks for damage, is just, it's kind of violent. It's kind of gross in a good way. We also play one of the Megidra Aces from the LM set, which is the counter one. That on play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's 11,000 or lower Digimon. All turns, when this Digimon would leave the battle area, play one Guilmon from its Digivolution cards or trash. Obviously, this is a Guilmon based deck, so you probably will have something in the sources, but not necessarily. Without paying the cost, if this effect played, place this Digimon as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. This is like the only ace that basically just goes, oh no, I died. So anyway, I didn't leave battle area. I got tucked under. I'm still part of this Digimon. So I do not give you memory. But it also has an all turns inherited effect of add 5,000 DP to this Digimon's DP Digivolution's maximum effects, which goes really well with War Groundmon X Antibody, which now can pop something that's 15k. It's a beautiful sight to behold. We're also playing 3 of the Megidramons from EX2. I don't care what you say. This card is beautiful. It shimmers like a diamond. And when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. Again, we just have an effect now from the promo that if you somehow like loop it from the promo up into this, you can now do 15k or less. If no Digimon was deleted by this effect, trash the top 5 cards of both players' decks. Also, we now have 10 cards in trash from either side. We are now doing lots of naughty things. You may play 1, and then on deletion, you may play 1 Guilmon and 1 Takato from your hand or trash without paying their memory costs. You just play both. It's really good. This version of the deck isn't really around Takato at all. I know we just got the new one and he's kind of featured in the deck, but we'll go through that when we get to the Tamers. But right now, it is more just like, how much violence can we cause in this deck? It is just a deck. Immunity is going to be a really big thing, I think, in the format when this comes out, because if it's not, everything is just being deleted. We are playing the one of Beelzemon Blast Mode Ace, and that is on play when Digivolving, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or lower Digimon. If you have 10 or more cards in your trash, instead, delete one of your opponent's Digimon, which is like any level then, obviously. Because it doesn't say level, it's actually good against things like the D-Reaper deck, where if there's a big floodgate on the field, you can get rid of it. When attacking, once per turn, return 10 non-Digimon card eggs to the trash from the trash to the top of your deck to trash your opponent's top security card. I like that in this version because he's searchable through the Wisdom boost, because Wisdom boost is going to find all our other option cards. I do think that Crimson mode probably would be better because it's red. You are having to use your searchers to search that instead of your other pieces. Because he's a finisher, it's a bit weird. I also like the fact that this is going to give more cards back to our deck, so that way we don't deck ourselves out, because you can very quickly deck yourself out faster than your opponent can, especially because you're half drawing, half trashing, whereas your opponent's only drawing into their cards when they want to, so they can choose their own speed. And then obviously, as it's a level 7 overflow card, it will give back 5 memory if it does die. But since this deck does just go, hey, look at me, I can now do 4 checks in one turn, and then I can just get Beazle out the following turn and just kill something, and then swing for game by trashing a security, and then swinging through for nothing. I just think it's a very good option. Again, Crimson mode, if it's down for you, go for Crimson mode. I just think that Milldramon is a much more lenient Digimon, especially when we go into metas where levels on cards might not be a thing anymore, given Cyber Sleuth is a deck coming up soon enough. The Digimon designed a BT21 option card in purple. If you have a Takato, you can ignore this card's requirements. Our babies are going to be purple. Most of the cards in this deck have purple in their identity. I think it's literally just the one card that isn't purple-red. So generally you'll have access to using this card whenever, and that is main, draw a card and trash a card in hand, then place this card in the battle area. Again, if you want to do this like turn 1 because you just need to start like ramping up the trash, you can. You'll have the Gigi, and you'll probably have one of the Guilmons sitting in the breeding area. Your turn, when an effect deletes Digimon, delay. One of your Digimon with Galamon, one of your Digimon with Guilmon or Groundmon in its name may digivolve into a Digimon card with the Groundmon, Galamon, or Megidra in its name from the trash without paying the cost. This is awesome because if you go back to something like Groundmon, where it's on play, trash top 2 cards of your deck, and then Raid Retaliation, and then you just go up into War Growl, which is when digivolving to the end of your opponent's turn, you can't return to hand or deck, and gets extra 3000 DP. And then if War Growlman is in this sources, which it already is, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 10,000 DP or less. You pop something on their side somehow. Maybe they had an armor form, and they could pop the armor form first, and then you go do it again. Loop-de-loop. But then you can pop the Digimon I designed. There you go. Unfortunately, because you have no way of ignoring the deletion effect, you can't ignore the deletion effect to keep one Digimon on the field to then go into this. Playing 2 purple scrambles. Again, this is just to get into the Digivolution effects. Cost of 2, go from your 4 to your 5, cost you 0 now to go do that. Go from your 5 to your 6s, cost you 1 or 2 now, making it a bit easier to get into. Making one of your purple Digimon, Digimon to a purple Digimon card in the hand with the Digimon cost reduced by 3, then place this card in the battle area. Start of your turn, if your opponent has a Digimon, delay. Return one purple Digimon card from the trash to the top of the deck. Any purple Digimon card. Then, if you don't have a Digimon, you may play 1 purple Digimon card with 2000 DP or less from the trash without paying the cost. If you watched last week's episode, we did do the double Evil Dragon Darkness jargon. This will play out your Guilmon Rush for you at the start of your turn. If there is 20 trash between both of yours, you now possibly have 2 Digimon ready to swing on that turn. It's a really good card, especially in a deck that can abuse a rushing rookie. And then in security, you may play 1 purple Digimon card with 2000 DP or less from the trash without paying the cost. Then add this card to your hand. This is more in line with just whatever you need. So if you need to search, do some searching. If you want to do the Guilmon that lets you trash 1, draw 2, you can do that one. If you can't, if you know your opponent's got like no way of getting rid of you the following turn, because like let's say it was like end of turn attack thing, and they popped the security, and the security was this, and obviously it's essentially your turn anyway. You can then just play out something whenever you want to, because it won't be sickness. Because inside this, it won't be downloading, it won't have sickness, it won't have what you class it as. It will just be able to swing that turn. 2 wisdoms again, besides like 2 of the Tamers and 1 of the Guilmons, you can search everything with wisdom. I would presume wisdom's probably the best thing to use anyway, but if we do get a memory boost in the future that's a purple red card, at least for the Digimon's sakes, it would just give you access to everything. But wisdom gives you access to your other option cards for itself, and then all the Digimon other than the EX2 Guilmon. And reduces the Digivolution cost by 2, which is really good if you want to go from a Guilmon into a Groundmon for a reduced cost. Playing 2 of the new Takatos here. Start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon out, you gain a memory. All turns when any of your Digimon are played or digivolved, by suspending this tamer until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon with Guilmon, Growl, Gallant, or Megidra in its name, or the hero trait gains blocker, and if there are 10 or more total cards in both players' trash, you gain 2000 DP. Just being bigger, having blocker, if you're in a situation where you need to go up into the Megidra, but you have access to the retaliation, and now you have blocker, you know, your opponent has to really think about swinging. Also, I think if you crash into it, let's say for instance, your opponent's got a 13k Magnet X and you're 13k, I'm pretty sure what happens first is you calculate battle damage, so they both crash, they both do the same amount of damage, they can then purge, then retaliation will trigger, so retaliation will then like pop the next armor if there's enough armor underneath it. So it's always something to think about when you have to like have layers of protection in some forms. Playing 2 of the Takatos from EX2. Why? Because it's amazing. Your turn, when any opponent's Digimon is deleted, you may suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. And then your turn, when one of your Digimon will Digivolve into a Digimon card with a Gallantmon or Grandmon in its name, that Digimon gains when Digivolving Blitz. If there was a way to give this Blast Mode rush, you could just Digivolve from the level 5 to level 6 and the 6 into the Blast, and the Blast would basically go like, hey, it's Blitz time. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But yeah, there's lots of ways for you to basically just go into to make sure that your BT21 Megidra will be able to swing still. Analog, playing this as 4 of, it's a 2-cost Tamer that just goes, hey, put things in the trash, we love you. On play, reveal top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 Digimon card amongst them to the hand, trash them any cards. Again, oh no, trash, we love trash. And then all turns, when one of your level 5 or higher Digimon with Digivision cards is deleted, you may suspend this Tamer. If you do, gain 1 memory, then hatch 1 Digimon egg to an empty space in the breeding area. Oh no, my deck that continuously wants to be exploding, which has sources, which then will give me an absolute buttload of memory when I die. And I will turn all these things sideways, and I will have a Digimon egg in the background, so I will definitely be swinging twice on the following turn. Analog Youth is at some point getting hit. I don't know when. I don't know if this is going to be the current ban list that's coming up here, because this is being recorded the week before the ban list hits, so this video could just be null and void by then. If Analog Youth isn't hit, I think it's going to be hit during the next round of hits, which will be September time probably, maybe October. But if Milldramon and Purple keeps doing fairly well in the near future, I do think that Analog Youth is long gone from this world. But that is the profile. We want to explode ourselves. We want to explode our opponents. We want to gain memory for doing both those things. We want to go sideways with Analog Youth. We want to get Blitz in. We want to be able to block. We want to have a way to just end the game with Blast Mode. This deck, it should, in reason, just be a very aggressive, bad time for your opponent. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that your opponent's going to really see what's happening with this deck. But this is my love child. This is Neo Milldramon. I'll see you guys next time. If you've enjoyed the content, please consider subscribing and liking this video. It does help me out a great deal, as you can tell my voice is really going. These do take a considerable amount of throat cells, and they seem to be leaving my body at an exponential rate. So, do me a solid and hit that button. We'll catch you guys next time for some more Digimon deck profiles. Mwah! Peace out and goodbye.